As Monster Month continues, we move to a pack of films that will haunt you. I'm talking about 4 ghost films with spirit. I'm Zack Bishop, and this is 4 Films. First up is Poltergeist, produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. The coach himself, Craig T. Nelson, and his family are living in a planned community in California, when suddenly they experience paranormal events. You know, spooky shit. Interesting special effects combined with some horror elements like spooky scary skeletons, and you have an utterly fantastic film. And one of my personal favorite reasons for this film being so fantastic is the twist at the end. It's such a great explanation at the end that is parts hilarious, parts sad, and all around chillingly evil. Because sometimes, much like the shows and films that we love, real life can be just as disturbingly strange. There were some strange occurrences that happened during the making of it, and things happened to the cast members. One of the main cast, Dominic Dunn, was actually murdered. And little Carol Ann, played by Heather O'Rourke, got sick and died from an illness a few years later. And possibly worst of all, is no one remembers or cares who Craig T. Nelson is.
They sucked his brains out.
Good film though. Next up is John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. And yes, before you say anything, this movie is a good time. And I think it was very misunderstood. Now why it's on this list is because even though it's speculated in the film that they're ancient parasites, I think it's supposed to be quite literally ghosts, which is cool. Alien ghosts? Usually can't go wrong with that. But back to the more important thing, is that this film was completely misunderstood when it came out. You see, it has great set designs and costume designs, but aside from that, everything is done very tongue-in-cheek. It's super campy, and I don't think people expected that because it looked so serious at the time. There's just something about a sleek late 90s look that was very serious back then. So I'm sure a lot of people were expecting a serious horror movie from John Carpenter. A little side note is that Resident Evil, the first film by Paul W.S. Anderson, totally rips off this movie. The structure, the team, it's basically the same damn thing. You know, I wouldn't put it past him kind of thing. But yeah, I would give this one a watch because it's a spooky, funny, kick-ass film that is very, very goofy, but most likely on purpose. But if there was a serious remake of it, 100% serious, it could be very awesome. But that's just me. Hey, maybe I'll do it. John? Get at me, John. Third up is 2010's Insidious. I knew I was in for a wild-ass ride as soon as I heard those crazy-ass violins as the title popped up in big, bold letters. I was like, wow, this is definitely an homage to older horror films. And I knew shit was going down. And I was not disappointed because this film is full of haunted hellions and spooky specters. Basically, the Lambert family is experiencing some paranormal happenings and they call in some experts to handle it. But things don't go the typical route of a normal ghost story. There is actually a little bit more to it. And as a more modern-day horror film, it's very entertaining. In box office numbers, it did very well and it spawned a sequel and 2 prequels. And the only way it could have done so is because this film has some good scares, some great cinematography and visual shots, and a somewhat interesting story to back it up. And that's what really set it apart from other ghost films of the time. Last but not least is the feature film Lights Out, based on the 2013 short film of the same name. In this film, the evil and vengeful spirit of Diana Walter attacks anyone who gets between her and her childhood friend, all the while covered in darkness. This film really captures the terror of the short film, and that makes sense because it was directed by the same person, director David F. Sandberg. In fact, his wife actually was the star of the short film, and she has a nice little cameo in the beginning of the feature film. The reason this film has so much spirit is because the attacks are brutally vicious, and our main characters are kids, so there's a real sense of danger the entire time. And the reason you know that's true is because Diana ain't f***ing around, and she will horribly kill them. But to find out what happens to them, I recommend that you watch this film, on a late night with the lights out. What? That's weird. Better go check this out. Party ghost, eh? I'm getting my gun. Oh, shit. Oh. You're doing the celebratory cabbage patch. I guess I can let you live. For now. Life with a party ghost. Who'd have thought?